SBL today, we're sitting with the great Michael League. You, of course, know him as a band leader and bassist of Grammy award-winning band Snarky Puppy, but he's also a solo artist, experienced sideman, producer, arranger, and entrepreneur, working with groups such as Bacante, Lala Hathaway, Chris Thiele, Joshua Redman, David Crosby. The list goes on and on. He's also the owner and founder of the record label Ground Up Music and puts on the annual Ground Up Music Festival. He is one of the truly great artists of our generation. We're so lucky to have him with us today, Mr. Michael League. Welcome to SBL. Welcome back. Welcome back to SBL. Thanks for being here.
It's always a pleasure hanging out with y'all. Love it.
I have watched your mentors' live streams over and over.
Very sorry to hear that.
Some of my don't you dare. It's some of my favorite. It's actually some of my favorite content on the site when you're playing with that acoustic bass and talking about your concepts of bass lines and solos. Do you remember when you did those pieces for us?
I do.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
God, I love that.
Thank you.
So thanks for being back. And today we're diving into the bass lines that made me, but not me, you, Michael League.
You don't want me to talk about the bass lines that made you?
You don't want to talk about those.
That's what the thing's called, and you're talking. So it must be about
me.
That made you. Yeah.
Nope. We're gonna flip it back around on you, and You've done the homework, man. I mean, you've prepped some bass lines to show us today. The bass lines that made you.
I did, but mostly because I misunderstood the assignment that you gave me, and I over-prepared this part and under-prepared the other part. So there's always balance. I did, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to knock it down to a couple, but I did my best.
Absolutely. And the idea behind these is obviously to take a look into your past, Michael, and look at the bass lines that really had a really heavy impact on your shaping as a musician, because I'm a believer that a lot of the things that we listen to as we're coming up and, becoming musicians, we absorb them, right? And they become part of our musical vocabulary. Yeah. And when you were, telling us just earlier, hey, it's this one, these are the ones that I'd love to share with the listeners, I was like, obviously, it was kind of obvious, right, that these were going to be, part of the things that you wanted to dig into. So with that said, which one do you want to jump into first? And just for everybody that's listening here, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a good, a chunk of the track, of each track. And then Michael's going to tell us his story about it, when's the first time he heard it. And then we're going to play a bit of that line and get into the nitty gritty with it. But yeah, Mike, which one do you want to kick off with?
Yeah, well, the 3 Creed bass lines that I chose. No, I'm just kidding. Where?
Dude!
Sorry.
Please.
I mean, you said it was obvious, right? So you knew it would be Creed.
Please, can we do higher?
I couldn't even name you a single Creed song if I had a gun to my head. Anyway, I don't count that as a bad thing. So the first one. Let's go. In terms of the band that had the biggest influence on me when I was a teenager, Led Zeppelin.
And what's the track?
Without a doubt. This was hard because I was a guitar player mostly in high school, so to choose a bass song was kind of I went with Dazed and Confused. For a couple reasons. Because, we're talking about the bass lines that made Ian. And so in this case, for me, I think a big part of what I like about grooves and music in general is this feeling of transitions being very satisfying. Mm-hmm. I also love trance things like the same bass line, 20 minutes over and over and over. This is also really beautiful to me. But I think in the way that I write music and the way that I compose grooves and stuff, I really love this feeling of an A-B kind of thing that feels so good going from A to B and then even better going from B to A. So with this legendary bass line played by John Paul Jones on a very highly compressed bass instrument, which I guess it was a J. That was his weapon of choice most of the time, right? J with flats and a lot of compression.
Hey, before we jump into the track, do you think we should play the original?
Yeah. That sound.
Been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below. You hurt and abused, telling all of your lies. Run, sweet baby, Lord, how they hypnotize. Sweet little baby, I don't know where you've been. Gonna love you, baby. Here I come again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you don't need me to tell you that the bass line rocks ass. I mean, it's so incredible in a lot of ways and for a lot of reasons. I think number one is that it's rhythmically motivic and identical, like the two phrases, but the second phrase obviously changes the pitches, but the relationship between the pitches is the same, so it's kind of like a symmetrical bass line. I mean, this is getting really nerdy, but
Nerd away, man.
That's
Nerd
why
and
we're
away.
also that when it goes to the, so you've got the A bass line, there's a 3, 4, 1. Right? Straight up. I mean, you can play the whole bass line on one string except for the low E, right? Or actually, I mean, maybe he's even playing it. I don't think he is, but maybe he's going. Which is kind of sick, actually, to do the whole thing on one string. Right? And then what's really nice is that when the bass line ends, the A section, and goes to the B section, it starts on the last note, right? Right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the most satisfying part, which is at the end. And I think what makes that transition so nice, going from is actually the space after the low E.
Yeah.
For me, that's what makes it so sick. Like if the bass line were like, it wouldn't actually be as cool.
Oh, right. Just the one drop.
It's just the boom. The really huge 2, and the production is so nice. And Jimmy Page was like, "Man, we have a badass riff. We don't need any harmonies. I mean, later a harmony comes in on the guitar, but like the meat of the song is really just this riff, and it's so beautiful and dumb, like all great rock. It's like dumb in the coolest way. Dumb in the like, I don't need to do anything to impress someone with a PhD, to prove that this rocks. Like, I'm always seeking dumbness, basically, when I'm writing music, no matter what. Like how do I communicate this musical idea in its most basic, simple, pure way without all of the overly intellectual fluff that stops music from being musical, And bass lines like this are like perfect. And I also love how the B section rushes, how it's like. And then it goes to the B, and it's like,
Yeah, they're playing together.
right, and then
Right.
slows down again.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that should
know?
be really. It's kind of sort of like, I wonder if it was like super intentional how they played, and I mean like, I'm not sure they even had a conversation about it, but the tempo of that first section is so loose, and it would have been so easy to play it slightly up from where it actually is in the record. Like really easy to play it just slightly up, and it wouldn't have had that baggy feel to
Well,
it.
and I feel like Bonham is pushing it a bit, almost like he wants it to be, or John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page are pulling it back. I mean, there's so much farther behind him, and that's a fun feeling in a rhythm section, especially in guitar. When guitar like lays behind, that's a wild feeling.
And also, it just doesn't matter because the tone is so good, the production is so good, the riff is everything is so good. It just doesn't even matter. Like the third bass note that John Paul Jones plays is like totally out with Bonham's kick. Like in the very first phrase, they're not locked in.
Yes, and you notice it.
And there are exactly 0 people on earth who care.
Yeah, right.
Like it just does not. It does not matter because it rocks. It's amazing. It's
don't
like
you think, in an era too where like we're gridding everything up and like locking rock music, especially like rock and pop music gridded out fully, Beat Detective, it's actually really cool and refreshing to hear that discrepancy. And I feel like now I would be like, we should move that, we should fix it. But the fact that it isn't perfect actually makes it more interesting to listen to me.
I don't know that you can ever find a Led Zeppelin song where everyone is playing with the same time.
Right.
I mean, Jimmy Page is like one of the most rushingest guitar players in music history, and it is awesome all the time. It doesn't matter. It's almost like you don't even want to hear what it's like if the band really actually was lined up. I don't want to say played together because they played together so beautifully. Like the fact that their feels are all kind of moving around is a big part of Zeppelin's magic. I remember I played a Monday night gig with Bernard Wright, this keyboard player that was a mentor for me, and played in Snarky Puppy and played with everybody. And we played Black Dog. Right? Yeah. And we played the B section. And we played it. And of course, these are like R&B musicians, jazz, funk, R&B musicians. So it was like we played it and it was in the pocket and it sounded wrong.
Like it sounded too slick.
It was like we played it, we were like, that's not the rhythm, right? And we went back and we listened to it because we were like, I don't think that's the line because that's not how it sounds on the record. And we just realized it's just Jimmy Page is playing like a 30-second note ahead of everybody on the riff, but Bonham is like right in the center, and that's kind of like a lot of the mojo of bands. A lot of the X factor is that the fact that they're not playing in a way that a professor would call 100% precise. I'm not saying that it makes the music special, but I'm just going to say that it doesn't get in the way of the music being special. Because, I mean, if Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones and John Bonham would have played more together as a rhythm section, would the music have been worse? No, I don't think so. I think it just would have been different. But the bottom line is the fact that they're not playing in a way that we consider to be like precise isn't affecting the music negatively in any way. It might even be affecting it positively. So
it just tastes different, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a different taste, right? Yeah. Okay, what's the next bass line, Mike?
Okay, let's do staple singers.
Yeah.
David Hood on bass.
Yeah, that's right.
Playing a...
Well, you're the one who's bringing up the David Hood controversy. So
jazz
you
bass,
explain it.
Heavily modified jazz bass.
That's true. Yeah,
and you're sure about this?
Yeah, like without a shadow of a doubt. We will put a screenshot, heavily modified jazz bass.
Yeah,
with a, do you know the old P bass? I think the old P bass kind of like
pickup cover.
The pickup cover over here. Over the bridge.
Over the bridge.
Who knows why?
Not the like the original bridge one, but the actual.
Not the original bridge. The actual pickup cover shifted over the bridge for whatever reason.
Foam?
Maybe you had foam under there or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
So this is. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I feel maybe a little embarrassed playing this bass line after hearing David Hood play it on the original version because it's just so dope. But I will if you insist that, or we can just listen to the Staples singers.
We do insist. Let's check out the original and then we'll jump in. Here we go.
I know a place. Ain't nobody crying.
Divine with that fade.
Come
I've got the
on.
fade going on, dude. You got to get
Come
the
on.
fade going on.
Fade chops. I mean, this bass line is just,
Sick, right?
yeah, it's just unbelievable, you know? And I also love that, like, the way we would play it today would be like, dum, 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 ding, dum, 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 dum. And he's playing ba, 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 ba,
Yes.
beep, ba, 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 beep, ba, 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 like really long, like, just like so lazy. You know, and fat.
Like really fat and
Oh.
open, the
And
actual notes.
It really sounds like, especially if he's playing a J, it really sounds like he's playing here.
yeah.
Right.
Not like
Yeah.
he's playing here, you know?
No,
like,
no, right. Neck pickup.
Like just really, like I would play it like,
Right.
right?
Yeah, shortening up those durations.
If I would have written it. But it's like so much hipper the other way. It's more like,
Yeah, the durations are just longer. Yeah.
and the drum groove is so sick. You know, it's like, that's like straight up sample material. You know, I mean, God knows how many times this song's been sampled. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. And also it's got a bass solo. Come
I know.
on, you know?
Yes, that bass solo is
David,
crazy.
And what I love about the bass solo is that, like, it's so simple, you know? Or something like that. I mean, it's very simple, but I mean, I used to play this song all the time on gigs, and it was so easy to play around it without actually playing that. I think I used to play like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool. Yeah.
Or something, but you can endlessly vary it upon you. You know. You know, whatever. I mean, you can, because it's so simple, it's so melodic and so beautiful. It's like you can play it different every time and it's totally cool. It almost doesn't even really sound like he worked it out much. Like it was just like play. Oh, okay. You know.
And it's just following the same harmony, right? It's just C major to F major, yeah?
exactly
C to F.
1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, freaking awesome. And everybody that's watching this right now, it's kind of like you've got to go learn that particular bass solo.
Come
'Cause
on.
It's maybe the greatest bass solo of all time.
Yeah,
And maybe the most iconic as well. Really.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
one of them. I mean, and in my opinion, one of the greatest bass lines ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wrote that. I don't know if the Staple Singers sang it to him. I don't know if the producer, but just as a bass line, it's like, what else do you need in your life? You know? And also the roots are on 1.
Yeah.
You
it's
know,
the feel, isn't it?
It's so bad.
It's the fifth. It's the feel of the 16th. It's like getting that right.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So
Yeah,
good.
it is perfect. Yeah. And you're right. It's not too like hip muted. It's not like hipster muted. He's just
Not at all.
playing it.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's very-
Really special.
What's the final bass line we're going to jump into, Mike?
My favorite bass line of all time.
Is it? Is this it?
Yeah. Do That Stuff by Parliament.
And this example is the live.
I gave you all the
19, yeah.
link to the live in Houston
Yeah.
because I have to represent Texas a little bit, you know, even though I'm not even from Texas, but I lived there for long enough. I got my like temporary, you know,
You got your Texas license.
yeah, music license. But I love this version just because you see how funky Parliament is. Like you visually see what a crazy party it was on stage to, you know, to be there in 1976. And man, the groove is just so bad, this bass line. I mean, there's several parts in the song, but I'm talking about like the main hook, the chorus.
Yeah.
Bass line.
And where were you the first time you heard this?
I was in my friend Tony Moran. I was breathing in a very large amount of secondhand marijuana smoke in my friend Tony Marino's car when I was secondhand. For everybody out there, don't judge. I was maybe 16, and my friend Tony was 17. He was the bass player in my high school rock band. I was the guitar player, and we used to listen to this all these Parliament records, Funkadelic versus the Placebo Syndrome, and all this stuff. Brides of Dr. Funkenstein. We just go through all these CDs in the car. Basically, we didn't even go anywhere. Maybe we go to Dairy Queen and get like an ice cream or something. But really, it was more about him getting out of the house so that he could smoke all the marijuana in the world, and then I could listen to all this music. And he hit me to so much stuff. He's really the guy that got me really into Zeppelin, Yeah, I mean, I heard it for the first time, and I loved the song. But it wasn't until like 10 years later, when I was really playing bass, that I realized this might be the greatest bass line ever written. And there's a specific reason why that I'll explain after we listen to it, why I love it so much.
Awesome. Wicked. Here we go.
Ain't nothing but a party, y'all. Let's get it on.
Yeah. Oh.
Everybody was feeling real. Had to look. It was written all over the face. Giving up the funk, waiting for the bar. You wouldn't believe how the party started. Dancing to the song called Carry Sound. I wanna go back and drink more than funky stuff. I got to get some more of that, more than funky stuff. I wanna go back and get more than funky stuff. I got to get some more of that, more than funky stuff. When they came, they wanted to set out, giving this all day and what they be about. You would not believe how they party now. Da 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 da.
It's just amazing.
Do that stuff, just do that stuff. Do that stuff, do that stuff. Do that stuff, just do that stuff. Do that stuff, do that stuff.
Yeah. Oh man.
A lot
These
of
guys are
drugs.
the best guys.
A lot of
They're having
drugs.
the best time, aren't they?
Oh yeah, just the most fun.
Come on, man. I
yeah.
mean, crazy. Late 70s Parliament. So crazy. Really wild. So, a lot of things that I love. A lot of things that I love about this bass line. First off, it's an E, as all of the greatest bass
The
lines
greatest
of all time.
riffs are in E. Come on.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's a bass line that is I mean, a way that you can talk about phrasing, when you're talking about music, is like you assign letters to phrases, right? So you can say like it's an A-B phrase or an A-B-C-B phrase, whatever. And this bass line goes A-B-C-B.
Yes.
So A is, that's A. B is, right?
Yeah.
C is,
Yeah. Yes, that little change. How cool.
it's
Yeah.
it's the same notes and the same rhythm as A. C, the third phrase, is the same as the first phrase, identical, except one single note moves over 1/16 later.
Yes.
1/16. So instead of, we have just the C sharp is 1/16 later, and then the last phrase is the same as the second phrase. What's crazy is that in the context of this bass line, that little 1/16 note space feels like the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
It's so, the feeling that it has is so extreme. So the whole bass line is 3, 4.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Grand Canyon.
Yes.
You know, it's really crazy.
Lovely.
Yeah.
You know, and also that it's at this tempo where you can swing it a little bit and it feels great, or you can just totally play it straight and it's also totally cool. It's at this really rolling tempo that I love so much, and I just love this idea. I mean, I've based basically my entire bass concept and compositional concept on the idea of playing a phrase and then playing it again with minor rhythmic variations.
With variations, yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously theme and variation is a very, very common tactic, you know, among composers throughout history. But like the rhythmic variation, the thing of like, let's not change the pitches, you know, let's just change the rhythm of like one thing or something. I think it's so fascinating. I think it's the perfect balance of, as a listener, of getting what you expect and being surprised. Because if you go too far to either side, you get bored as a listener. If a band comes on stage and they play everything exactly the way you expect and the way you've heard before, you're bored. If a band comes on stage and, I don't know, like, you know, rubs the bass head against a cymbal for 3.5 hours or does something totally unexpected and totally inaccessible, then you're also bored. You can get bored with things that are predictable and bored with things that are too unpredictable. But if you have like this nice little mix in the middle where you're like 50% surprised and 50% getting what you love, man, you're in this like golden zone, and I think bass lines like this really do it. And also, if you don't like this bass line, you're probably not alive. It's like, how do you not like this? How can you
Get out?
How can you hear this bass line and not want to, you know, move your booty? It's like it's so unbelievably funky. So this is my number one of all time. Period. Done.
Amazing. Hey, thanks for sharing, mate. And you did have one final one, didn't you? Like a wild card.
I pressed you.
Only because Ian pressed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, you know, the first couple bass lines especially are more bass lines that are maybe more according to my taste or something.
Yeah.
But like every bass player, probably, I did have a big Jaco phase. And while I don't think that my playing has a lot in common with Jaco's playing aesthetically, there's one bass line that's kind of like a guilty pleasure that I really love. I don't even know if I can play it because I probably haven't played it since I was a teenager. And even then, I probably played it very terribly. But it was the
beast.
Chorus bass line to Come On, Come Over, you know, right? Is that the A section?
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
And then when it goes up, or he does something like a, or maybe that was just something that somebody else used to play. Bernard always used to play a, but I don't think Jaco ever played that. But I think he was just playing like,
Yeah, I think there's a couple of variations.
Or, what is it? You know it probably better than me.
So there's that one.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That one there.
Ah, yeah.
And then it goes back to the A. And then it goes
Yeah.
It's a beast.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's an awesome bass line. And it's like there's no space. whatsoever. It's just
but it also propels in a way that is so cool and interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
because
yeah.
there is space in A. There is space in the verse line, you know?
Totally,
and then you get
totally.
into that chorus and it's just like almost like double kick drum
Yeah,
propulsion.
and
you
the
know?
chorus is about the bass line.
It is.
That's what it's
Yeah.
about. So it's
totally
totally
right.
musically appropriate that there's no space. It's like that's the vibe. That's the deal. It's awesome.
Check it out. Played on a fretted.
Come on, come over.
But with the tone totally off, right? So
Yeah,
you don't hear the
totally
frets
off,
at
yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
You afraid that you won't like it, but you don't understand. One thing, my brother, I can tell you true. The more time you spend
That
feeling
sneaky minor
happy,
third in the second
Yeah.
phrase.
I've played that wrong before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
outlandish.
It's
Amazing.
outlandish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
never
outlandish.
even noticed that there was that E flat there. I've never played this song. I think it was just something that I heard, but it's the first, and then it's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, it
beautiful.
Sure is. I never
then-
noticed that either for the longest time.
Yeah, it's
Then
great.
We
It's
did
playing along to it
a
like,
video
oh.
on it recently. We had to do this video on it recently, and it was a freaking beast because it's so hard to get the. It's his feel when he plays it. It's
wild.
brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
so
he's
kind of
really-
just like
Yeah.
it's locked in, and to play
Yeah.
with that kind of it's interesting. He's got he obviously had a great, amazing feel, but yeah, on that 16th note funk stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Get out.
Well, my favorite bass line of his, actually, I know we're probably over time, and not this is
Go for it.
Opus Pocus. Sorry,
Oh,
Yes.
right? Or maybe it's. I don't even know what key it's in.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, that thing.
Right. That's what it
Yes.
is. Both thirds, right? I don't know what
Yeah.
key is it in. D?
I have no clue.
I don't know either.
I think it's C sharp, maybe. I think maybe. And then the line.
Dude, Michael League,
Or
are you
whatever.
kidding me?
I mean, I don't-
love that that's inside of you still.
I mean,
that's insane.
I listen to that song a lot, but I mean, it's so that line is so beautiful too because it's like, ooh, it's kind of Phrygian, kind of pentatonic, right? And then it's like E major, B
Yes,
flat
yes.
major,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Which is such a cool pattern. And I just love that there's nothing on one. That's my shit. I mean, obviously y'all know
right.
that's my shit. It's like never the bass not playing on one, you know, one.
That's so cool.
You know? Whatever. And that crazy major
thing,
minor
yes.
third thing
Is he?
is
Yeah.
sick, man.
I've
It's
wondered
just-
too. Is he playing that live? Is he doing that, or because some of the intervals sound like they're changing because it's higher ones, and I wondered if it was double tracked.
He used to do that on those Joni Mitchell records.
This
he would
thing.
double track
He would
the
do
hell
this
out of
thing?
the bass.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Like generally double tracking, but I think on that one he's definitely playing fretless, and I think he goes like "Wah." Like he does a
Yeah,
slide,
right,
but I can't get
right.
it on a fretted bass. But you got it, Scott, you got it dialed up.
I'm dialing it in. Here we go.
Ah, thank you, Sharon.
Here we go.
Oh, no. C sharp. The internet's lying to you, Sharon. Yeah, both thirds of the slide.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ooh, yeah, that's what you were talking about, right, Ian?
Yeah.
AABA. I love that. Ah, the drum groove. Lenny White, right?
Yeah.
So cool.
And then actually that Come On Come Over bass line's about to happen in E, I think.
Yeah.
Later. Wayne Shorter.
Oh my
And
word.
it's like the bass line is the melody. It's like the bass
It
line
is.
is the head. I mean, the steel drum thing almost feels just like this accompaniment, almost atmosphere. There's not a melody happening there so much, right?
No.
It's Jaco's thing.
It's the groove. It's like that's like hip hop shit. It's like all you
Yes.
need is a badass bass line and a badass drum groove, and you're in there forever.
dude.
And I think actually the next section when they go, fuck. I think it goes
Yeah,
back.
they get into
doesn't
something.
it?
It goes back to that weird
I think it
groove.
does it, but
Oh,
in E.
Let's get that
Yeah.
payoff. Let's find it.
Find
Let's
it.
put it in
Track
there.
it down.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember. But it's like, he doesn't care. You play the same bass line twice on the same record, who cares? Look at that face.
It's further on, Ryan.
Yeah. Here it comes.
Oh,
It's different. Ooh.
what is that? Bap.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's great. It's G and D.
Yeah.
Ah, right. It's like he's like going right? Like so E, G, D, and then using the 5 as the anchor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funky, man. It's so funky. It's like it's that record is so special, man. It's so special. It's like you can really tell that that you know he went in with a sound in mind, and you can really feel the energy that was recorded kind of like by the same people in the same spaces. Kind of like the antithesis of the way people make records now. Like, oh yeah, lay down the drums at your house, and then I'll email it to you, and then you lay down the blah blah blah. It's like you can really feel the space, you know. Yeah. As with all those Zeppelin records too, you really feel the space that they're in, the physical space.
Yes.
Yeah.
that they're in.
It's almost like another character within the record, you know.
Exactly, a big one sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
sure.
yeah. So that's my unsolicited fifth place.
Amazing.
I
Mike,
love it.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. These are the bass lines that made you.
That made Ian.
Made you. A couple that made me too, though.
Yeah. Mike, thanks so much for being here. We will see you next time. Take it easy.
Appreciate you. See ya.
Bye.